I want to thank the chairman and ranking member, and I want to thank all of you for what you do for the country, and especially the sailors and Marines and the civilian workforce that work underneath you to keep our country safe. And I wanted to follow up with what you said, Admiral Hilardes, about the civilian workforce. As you know, as we look at the great work done at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, which I know that Senator King shares in the pride we have, of course, in the shipyard, that this is a very important component of the shipyard. So can you tell me how the shipyard's doing, and from your impression?
Yes, ma'am. Happy to report that Portsmouth Naval Shipyard is currently delivering its availabilities on time. They are meeting all their benchmarks and are performing at a very high level. They support additional detachments out in San Diego that are doing in-service submarine work there as well. We do have a bump in hiring at Portsmouth that'll help bring them to their full capacity, but I'm pleased to report that Portsmouth is doing very well, ma'am.
Well, that's great, and we're also really proud. I understand on the Topeka, the California, and the Springfield, they were able to perform ahead of schedule, so we hope to do more of that.
Yes,
very proud of them, so thank you. And I wanted to follow up in that regard on the importance of our attack submarine fleet. I know that the chairman in his opening statement, and I believe the ranking member as well, may have referenced when it comes to the Virginia-class submarines, as we look at the retirement of the Los Angeles class, which is happening more quickly, we're going to be in a position where the current number of attack submarines will drop in the next decade from about 54 now to about 41. Yet, what's been the request in terms of the need by our combatant commanders for attack submarines? As I understand it, that we're only meeting about half of their requests at this point.
Yes, ma'am. We're meeting approximately 54% of their requests for our forces out there right now with the submarine force we have.
So one of the things as we look at going forward, it seems to me very important that we stay on track to continue building the 2 Virginia-class submarines a year. Otherwise, we're going to have a pretty significant gap in terms of our capability that we need to defend the nation and the need for the attack submarine fleet. Would you all agree with me on that?
Yes, ma'am.
And how important is it that Congress provide reliable and sufficient funding so the Navy can fully implement the Block 4 multi-year procurement contract going forward?
Well, the basis of the savings that we're achieving in the Block 4 contract are all tied to stability of funding. So when we came forward with the certification of the multi-year and basically took credit for the savings, that was all predicated on future budgets being supported in a timely manner.
I also wanted to follow up as we look at the reduction in the capacity for the undersea strike capacity that all of us are worried about. I know recently, before the full committee, the Chief of Naval Operations said that you are all studying whether the Virginia Payload Module Program could be accelerated. Could you comment on that?
Yes, ma'am. What's referred to as VPM is an upgrade that's targeted for the first boat of the follow-on Block 5 multi-year in FY19. And we cannot restore the capacity of the SSGNs fast enough because they're going to go out in a 3-year period in the mid-20s. And with each SSGN, they carry a capacity for 154 Tomahawks. So with VPM, we add 28 Tomahawk capacity per Virginia. So as you can see, just doing the math, we have to basically include VPM for a long period of time. It's about 22 boats in total that make up the capacity that you lose. And the earlier we can get started on that, the better. So what we have done is, working with industry, is rather than settle for the first boat in 19, we've asked to take a look at, is it feasible to accelerate that to FY18? That analysis is just started, frankly, and we'll get a first look at that at the end of this month with more details later on this summer. If we are able to do that, that will help to just buy down some of that risk associated with the SSGNs retiring, But at the same time, we have to be very mindful of the amount of work that's coming our way in terms of submarines, because we'll have Virginia, we'll have the introduction of VPM, and we'll have the Ohio replacement, all in that period of time. So the ability to accelerate VPM cannot be done at the expense of stability across the rest of our submarine programs.
Well, I'm really appreciative that you're looking at this acceleration, given the need that we know is very apparent. And so I appreciate the need, obviously, to look across the whole Navy to be able to perform what you need to do with the Ohio class as well. But this acceleration, I think, would be very important in terms of our undersea strike capability. And you were saying, Mr. Secretary, that you expect that the study on this maybe, when can we expect to hear your results?
I'm going to get a quick look. What I've asked is, first, is it feasible? Second, is it sensible? It might be feasible, but given everything else we have going on with submarines, it might not make sense to do. It might add more risk than it's going to resolve. Third, if it is feasible and sensible, what do we need to do in FY16 specifically to ensure we retain the option going forward?
Well, that's excellent, because obviously I think that's something that this committee would be very interested in working with you in the upcoming authorization. So thank you all for what you do for the country.